to Mobility Mondays. I am just about to start my workout for today, so I hope you will join me for that. And then please stick around because immediately after the workout, I'm going to be doing my weekly Monday Mobility Challenge, so I would love for you to try that with me as well. There are timestamps in the description box down below the video, so please use the chapter markers to navigate to whatever section of the video is most relevant to you. I'm starting with a tutorial where I will explain and demonstrate each of the exercises, then we'll be doing a 5-minute warm-up together, and then part 1 of the workout is going to be 10 minutes of mobility training, then we'll do part 2, which is 10 minutes of strength and cardio training, then we'll do a cool down together, and then the mobility challenge. So if you would prefer to just skip straight ahead to the workout, you can use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to see the exercises demonstrated and explained before we begin, let's go ahead and get into that right now. So first of all, let me just go through the equipment that I am using today. First and foremost, you are going to need something soft beneath you. So grab an exercise mat or a yoga mat if you have one. If you don't have a mat, a towel may suffice. If you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all, but I'm going to be using a mat. Then I have 2 sets of dumbbells here. For part 1, I'm going to be using my lighter set of dumbbells, and for part 2, I'm going to be using a heavier set of dumbbells. So for reference, and for reference only, my lighter set of dumbbells weigh 5 pounds a piece, and my heavier set of dumbbells weigh 10 pounds a piece. Those weights work well for me. You may need to use something lighter, you may need to use something heavier. That depends on you, that depends on your strength, it depends on your level of fitness. It also just depends on what you have available to you and how hard you're looking to push yourself today. So please consider all of those factors when choosing your weights and make the decision that is best for you. But I will say that for part 1 of the workout, I specifically chose a set of weights that feels light to me when I pick them up. So I very strongly recommend that for part 1, you use weights that feel light to you when you pick them up. I do not recommend using a heavier set of weights for part 1 of the workout. For part 2, you can use a heavier set of weights, that's fine. If you only have 1 set of weights and those weights feel light to you when you pick them up, you can use the same set of dumbbells for parts 1 and 2. But if you only have 1 set of weights and those weights do not feel light to you when you pick them up, then I'm going to very strongly recommend that you eliminate the added weight for part 1 and just add weight to part 2 of the workout. Or you can use household items instead. So if you don't have a set of dumbbells that feel particularly light to you when you pick them up, you can just grab a couple of shampoo bottles or water bottles filled with some sort of weight. So you could fill them with water if you want. You might be able to make them a bit heavier if you fill them with something like uncooked rice or dried beans or lentils, kitty litter, dog food, powder laundry detergent, something like that. So just get creative and use what you've got. But if you don't have anything that's going to work, that's fine. You do not need to add weight to part 1 of the workout. So the only other thing I'm using besides a mat and my dumbbells is my jump rope. I forgot to grab my jump rope. Let me go get Victoria. I'll be right back. So here's Victoria. Victoria is my beautiful silver jump rope with these pretty light pink metallic handles. If you would like to know where I get my jump ropes, there is a link and a coupon code in the description box down below the video. So click on the link and use coupon code RUDEBECCA to save an additional 10% on your jump rope. If you don't have a jump rope, that's fine. You can substitute with any kind of cardio exercise you want. So you can just pantomime jumping rope, that's fine. Or you can jog in place or do high knees or jumping jacks. So you do not need a jump rope to do this workout right along with me, but I will be using my jump rope. Now for part 2 of the workout, if you do not have dumbbells, you really are going to need something to lift if you want to do what I'm doing. Because I'm going to be doing bent over rows, I'm going to be doing bicep curls and overhead presses. So if you don't have any weight, it doesn't make any sense to do those movements. So if you do not have anything that's going to work for weight, or you just don't want to add weight to the workout, that's fine. You can substitute with just burpees, okay? So while I'm doing all of the other exercises I'm doing in part 2, you can just be doing burpees or some push-up variation, or really kind of any kind of strength training exercises that you want to do. So what do you want to work on today? Do you want to work on arms? Do you want to work on chest? Do Do you want to work on abs and core? Do you want to work on legs? Do you want to work on all of it? So there are going to be 5 cardio intervals and 5 strength training intervals in part 2. So you could do, for your first strength training interval, you could do a squat variation. For your second strength training interval, you could do a lunge variation. For your third strength training interval, you could do an ab exercise. For your fourth strength training interval, you could do push-ups. It doesn't matter, okay? Just strength and cardio. So whatever you want to work on today is fine. But if you want to keep it nice and simple, you can just do burpees. So since we're talking about part 2 and since part 2 is super simple, let's just go ahead and go over the exercises for part 2 first. So if you do not have anything that's going to work for weight, you can just do burpees or whatever kind of strength training exercise you want. Here's what I'm going to be doing. I'll show you the combo first. I'm going to be starting with a reverse grip bent over row. So when I say reverse grip, this is what I mean. I'm going to rotate my wrists so that they are facing forward. And when I say a bent over row, this is what I mean. I'm going to start by making sure there's a soft bend to my knees. I'm going to tuck my shoulder blades into my back pockets so that my shoulders are back and down and away from my ears. Then I'm going to hinge at the hips. So I'm pushing my booty back like I'm trying to touch the wall behind me with my booty, keeping that chest lifted, and I'm hinging at the hips so that I end up in this bent over position. My back is flat, all of my weight is in my heels, and I can actually pick up my toes. So you want to, first of all, make sure that you're not actively locking out your knees. You're not actively trying to straighten your legs. So don't lock out your knees. Make sure there's a soft bend to your knees. And you want to do your best to see if you can get your back, your torso parallel to the ground. But the important thing is that you're keeping the weight in your heels and your back is flat. So make sure you're not allowing your back to round like this. Tuck those shoulder blades into the back pocket. Shoulders are back and down. Chest is lifted high. And then from here, I'm just going to row the dumbbells. So that just means that I'm going to bend my elbows and lift my dumbbells up towards my shoulders and then straighten my elbows and control the movement on the way down. Then I'm going to press my heels into the ground, hinging at the hips to stand. From here, I'm going to do a bicep curl. So I'm keeping my wrists rotated forward. So you are looking at the palms of my hands right now. I'm going to bend my elbows and lift the weights up towards my shoulders. Then I'm going to rotate my wrists again, bringing the weights on top of my shoulders. And then I'm going to press the weights up overhead and then reverse the movement. Bend my elbows, bring the weights back down to the shoulders, squeeze the weights together in front of me, straighten my arms and lower the weights back down. That's my combo, okay? So, reverse grip, bent over row, bicep curl, goal post, overhead press, and then reverse the movement. Weights come back down to the shoulders, squeeze the weights together in front of you, straighten the arms, bring the weights back down in front of you. That's one set. Next set, bent over row, bicep curl, goal post, overhead press, and now reverse the movement. Bring the weights back down, squeeze, and straighten the arms. Reverse grip, bent over row, bicep curl, and really an Arnold press, and then straighten the arms, okay? That's my combo. So there are 5 different strength training intervals. I'm going to be isolating each movement. So with my first strength training interval, I'm going to be doing just my reverse grip bent over rows. So I'm going to be here for the entire work interval. For my next strength training interval, I'm going to be doing just bicep curls. So I'm just going to stay right here for the entire work interval. For my third work interval, I'm going to be doing goal posts. So I'm just going to be squeezing the weights together in front of me and then rotating my wrists, bringing the weights to my shoulders. Chest, shoulders. Make sure you're not banging the weights together. Okay, you want to control the movement. Squeeze the weights together in front of you. Then for my fourth strength training interval, overhead press. Okay, so I'm just going to start with my weights on my shoulders, press them up overhead, bring them back down. And then for my fifth and final work interval, that's where I'm going to put it all together. So with that interval is where I'm going to be doing the entire combo: reverse grip row, bicep curl, Arnold press. All right, so that's it. That's basically part 2. And in between each one of those work intervals, I'm going to be doing a jump rope interval. So my timer will be set for 10-second rest intervals and 50-second work intervals times 10 rounds. Times 10 rounds. That's 10 minutes. So I'm going to start with my reverse grip bent over rows. We'll do that for 50 seconds. Then we have 10 seconds to rest. It's really just enough time to put the weights down, grab the jump rope. Then we'll jump rope for 50 seconds. Then with my next work interval, I'm going to move on to bicep curls. So we'll do a 50-second interval of bicep curls, then 10 seconds rest, and then another jump rope interval, 50 seconds of jump rope. And then we'll move on to our goal pose, 50 seconds of jump rope, then overhead press for 50 seconds, jump rope for 50 seconds, and then with my fifth and final strength training interval, I'll put the whole combo together, and then with my final cardio interval, just one last interval of jump rope, okay? So that's part 2. Jump rope, if you are jumping rope, any style of jump rope you want to do is fine. I always just kind of jog in place like this while I'm jumping rope, but if you're more comfortable jumping with your feet together, that's fine. Jump with your feet together, it doesn't matter. Any style of jump rope you want to do is fine. So if you are not adding weight, again, you're going to start with a strength training interval. So it can be anything you want. If you want to keep it simple, just do burpees. Any burpee variation you want, with or without a push-up, with or without a jump up, okay? Because we're doing cardio in between. So if you don't want to be jumping during your strength training interval, that's fine. You don't have to jump. Any burpee variation you want to do is fine. Or again, any strength training exercise at all that you want to do is fine. So if you just want to work on your push-ups today, let's say, you could do a different push-up variation for each of those 5 intervals, or the same push-up variation. Or like I said, you could start with a squat variation, and then jump rope, and then move on to lunges, jump rope, move on to abs. So any strength training exercise you want to do while I'm lifting weights is fine if you don't have weights. Hopefully that makes sense. You can absolutely do all those with light weights as well. So if you only have a light set of weights, you can use those. Your weights don't have to be heavy. But that's part 2, all right? So part 1 is going to be 10 minutes of mobility training. And I am going to be adding weight to each of these exercises. There are really just 3 exercises because 2 of the exercises we have to do once on one side and once on the other side. So really there's just 3 exercises. So let's go over the exercises for part 1. I'll show you first without any added weight, and then I'll show you what to do if you want to add just a little bit of weight to the exercises. So we're going to start working on shoulder mobility. I'm going to start down here on my belly, and I'm going to have my arms out to the side. My elbows are bent at a 90-degree angle, and all I'm going to do is tap my fingertips to the ground, and then I'm going to tap my elbows to the ground, okay? Super simple. Just tap the fingertips, tap the elbows. All right, so just working on shoulder mobility and also working on that upper back a little bit. If you want to increase the difficulty by adding weight, you're just going to hold on to a very light set of dumbbells or a couple of shampoo bottles or water bottles or cans of soup. All right, and you're gonna do the same thing, just holding on to my light set of dumbbells, and I'm going to tap my elbows, tap the dumbbells, tap, and tap. Okay, super simple, but it's really tough with that added weight. So if you start off holding on to weight and it becomes too taxing, just drop the weight. You don't need to hold on to weight. But that's the first exercise. Second exercise, we are working on shoulder mobility again and also spinal mobility with this one. So my knees are bent, and I'm going to just allow my knees to fall towards one side. So I'm keeping my knees glued together so that as they come down, my knees are still more or less stacked. All right, and I want to keep both shoulders on the mat as I do this. All right, so already you're testing that spinal mobility. Now, I'm going to pick up my dumbbell with the, my knees are pointing this way, with the hand that's pointing the opposite way. That's where I'm going to be holding onto my dumbbell. And I'm going to start with my arm extended out to the side, and my palm is facing up towards the ceiling. And now I'm going to lift my dumbbell right up overhead, and then I'm going to rotate my wrist so that I'm opening up that shoulder. And now I'm going to lift my shoulder and twist towards my free hand, the hand that's on the ground. Now I'm going to put my shoulder back down, rotate my wrist again, and lower the dumbbell back down to the ground. All right, so my palm is facing the ceiling. This palm is flat on the ground. This palm is facing the other direction. So the back of my hand is on the ground. My palm is facing the ceiling. I am not actively trying to straighten my arm. There is a soft bend to my elbow as I lift the dumbbell up. And then once I get the dumbbell so that it's straight up, like coming straight out of my shoulder, I'm going to lift the shoulder that's on the same side as the dumbbell and twist. Place the shoulder back down and return to the starting position. So lift, rotate, lift the shoulder, place the shoulder back down, rotate, and return to the starting position. Lift, rotate, lift the shoulder, and place the dumbbell back down. All right, makes sense? So if you don't want to add weight, you can do the same thing without any added weight. In that case, you can have both of your palms facing up if it's easier for you or more comfortable. It doesn't matter. You're not lifting anything. So whatever's comfortable for you, but the point is that you're starting with your knees facing towards one side. You're going to pick up the opposite hand, rotate, lift that shoulder, place it back down, and place the arm down, return to your starting position. Okay, same thing, just not holding on to any added weight. So we'll do that on one side, and then with our next work interval, we'll switch sides and do the same exercise on the other side. So our final exercise is going to be lunge push-ups. So again, for this exercise, I'm using just one dumbbell, but you do not have to add weight if you don't want to. I'm going to start down here on my mat. So if you start kneeling, you're going to then pick up one knee, bring the foot in front of you and place it down. This is going to be your starting position, this deep lunge position with your back knee on the mat. So do your best to make sure that there's about a 90-degree angle in both knees-ish. So especially in this front knee, you really want to make sure that your knee is not tracking over your knees. You want to do your best to make sure that the knee of your front leg is over the heel of your front foot. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the hand that's on the same side as my back leg. I'm going to place that hand down next to my front foot. I'm going to be holding the dumbbell in my opposite hand, and I'm going to lift the dumbbell like this. So I'm twisting towards this front leg, okay, as opposed to twisting away from the leg. I have my opposite hand on the mat in front of this foot, and I'm twisting the opposite direction, okay? So if you want to do it without any weight, you can just be here, and then what I'm going to do is basically a push-up. I'm going to bend my elbow, lower my elbow to the mat, and then press it back up, okay? And we're just staying right here. If you want to increase the difficulty, I'm just going to be holding on to one light dumbbell. Same exercise. Just adding a little bit of weight, and that's it. So we will do that exercise for one interval on one side, and then you'll switch and do it on the other side, and that's it. So that's all of the exercises for part 1. So here's the format. My timer is also going to be set for 10 rounds of 10-second rest intervals and 50-second work intervals. So the timer is set the same for parts 1 and 2. 10-second rest intervals and 50-second work intervals times 10 rounds. So for part 1, that's our little circuit. We're just going to go through the circuit twice. So we're going to start with our little windshield wiper shoulder mobility exercise, and then we are going to flip over and we're going to do our spinal twist exercise, once on one side then once on the other, and then we'll finish with our lunge push-ups on the right leg, lunge push-ups on the left leg, and that is once through the circuit. So then we'll just repeat that once more. That's our 10 minutes, and that's part 1. So then we'll move on to part 2, and that's it. The whole workout is only going to be 20 minutes, a little longer than 20 minutes. That depends on how long of a break you need in between parts 1 and 2. But part 1 is going to be exactly 10 minutes, and part 2 is going to be exactly 10 minutes. All right, so the entire workout is just going to take you a little bit longer than 20 minutes. Hopefully that is all clear. Please remember that I do always take the time to type out the instructions in the description box down below the video. And of course, I'm going to do the entire workout right along with you. So watch me do it, read the instructions. But then of course, as always, if anything is unclear with the format and how everything fits together, if you have any questions about any of the exercises that we are doing today, some of these are new, so it's fine if you have questions. I'm here to help. If you have any doubts about how to do these exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions beyond what I've already provided, if you need to see beginner modifications for anything, please just ask. Okay, always ask questions if you have them. It's really important that you understand the exercises and how to do them correctly before you begin the workout, so that you reduce your risk of injury, and also just so that you make sure that you are getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. And you guys know it is also incredibly important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me. So I'm always here to help facilitate that. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. I also want to remind you, especially if you're going to be working out along with the video, to please go at your own pace. If you are in great shape, you're probably going to be a lot faster than I am. You're going to be able to complete more reps with each work interval. You are going to be able to transition from part 1 to part 2 more quickly than I am. That's all wonderful, as long as you're not losing anything off of your form to get there. If you find that you're racing through the exercises just because you're trying to beat me, or you're just trying to complete as many reps as possible so that you can see you got a great score, just make sure that you're not sacrificing your form for speed, okay? If you're racing through the exercises and your form starts to get sloppy, that means you need to slow down. It's always better to do fewer reps with excellent form than to rush through the exercises and do lots and lots of sloppy reps. It's safer and more effective sometimes to just slow down a little bit. If you are slower than I am, that is also wonderful, because you would not even know that you're slower than I am unless you were out here putting in the work and doing the reps. So don't worry about how fast you're going, worry about your form, okay? Do not race to keep up with me. If you're slower than I am, just be slower than I am. Make sure that you are not sacrificing your form for speed. And then just make sure that you're working to your own level. Okay, so that means choosing dumbbells or household items or whatever you're using that are an appropriate weight for you. So light weights for part 1, heavier weights for part 2 if you have them. It shouldn't be the heaviest thing you can lift, but you can go a little bit heavier for part 2. It means putting down the weight or dropping down to a lighter set of weights if it becomes too taxing. It means limiting your range of motion if necessary. Please do not push your body into doing anything that it is not ready to do. And it means resting as needed. So if you need a longer rest break in between parts 1 and 2 than what I'm taking, fine, pause the video and come back when you're ready. If you're finding that you're needing more than 10 seconds of rest in between exercises, take as long as you need. If you find that you're needing to rest during a work interval, that is what you should do. Okay, challenge yourself to keep your rest breaks as short as you can. but they should be as long as you need. You should only resume the workout once you feel that you have regained enough strength and you have enough stamina so that you can continue with good form. So please just be smart, be safe, listen to your body, use your common sense, make the decision that is best for you, and just do your best. Please remember that your best is always good enough, so let your best be good enough. Hopefully I have covered everything, so if you are ready to begin this workout, gather whatever equipment you're using. So again, for me, that is an exercise mat, a light set of dumbbells, a heavier set of dumbbells, and my jump rope. If you don't have a jump rope, that's fine. If you don't have dumbbells, you can look for household items that will work. And if you don't want to add weight, you don't have to. Make sure you have something soft beneath you. So if you don't have an exercise mat, maybe grab a towel and then pause the video, get dressed, meet me right back here. We're going to start with a quick 5-minute warm up, and then we'll get right into part 1 of the workout. All right, so as soon as you're ready, let's get started with our 5-minute warm up. You're going to begin by just allowing your head to fall towards one shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. You're not actively pulling your ear down towards your shoulder. You're just resting your hand there, and you're allowing gravity to do all of the work of just gently stretching the other side of your neck by just using the weight of your arm. Now we're going to switch sides, so you're going to allow your head to fall towards the opposite shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. Make sure your arm is relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Don't let them creep up here by your ears. Shoulders should be back and down. Now we're going to do some head rolls. So you're going to begin by just allowing your chin to fall towards your chest and then towards the opposite shoulder and back. And each time you roll your head from one shoulder to the other, just start to feel your head getting heavier and heavier. Your arms are nice and loose like a rag doll. And with each roll, you're allowing your range of motion to increase until finally you're just allowing your entire torso to fall down in front of you. Now we're going to roll the shoulders. You can roll them towards the back or towards the front. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that you're exaggerating the movement, exploring your full range of motion. Make those circles as big as you possibly can. And next we're going to do arm circles, but we're going to start small with our arm circles. So you're going to extend your arms out to the side and just make small circles, either towards the back or towards the front. It doesn't matter. But then gradually you're going to start increasing your range of motion, making those circles bigger and bigger until finally you're making the circles as big as you possibly can, exploring your full range of motion. Step the feet out so that they're a bit wider than shoulder width apart. Bend the knees, sweeping the hands down in front of you. And as you straighten the legs, you're reaching up as high as you can. Each time you bend your knees, allowing your range of motion to increase, sinking deeper and deeper into that squat. Now keep your feet planted exactly where they are. We're going to lunge side to side, nice and easy. And add the arms. So now with each lunge, just reaching my arm across my body like I'm trying to throw my arm across the room. Next, we're going to march. So you're going to step your feet in and just march, starting with your knees low. But gradually, as the interval progresses, you're going to start driving your knees up, higher and higher towards your chest until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you can towards your chest. Feel a little stretch in your glutes. And now we're going to jog in place, again starting with the knees low, but gradually start driving your knees up, higher and higher towards your chest, until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you can towards your chest. Next we're going to do booty kicks. So we're still jogging in place, but now with each step, you're bringing your heel behind you. Really try to kick yourself in the booty cheek with your heel. If you struggle with balance, you may need to hold on to the wall or a chair for support for this next one. If not, hands on the hips is fine. Transfer your weight into one foot, pick up the opposite foot, and just swing the leg front and back. Nice and loose. Just waking up those hip flexors. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. So put this foot down, transfer your weight, pick up the opposite foot, and just swing the leg front and back. You can start low And then you can start to expand your range of motion. If it feels comfortable, swinging that leg higher and higher. Put this foot down, pick up the other foot, extend the leg out in front of you. Bring it around and behind, just making a little semicircle. Lifting that leg a little higher each time. And then for the last two, you're gonna drive your knee up in front of you. Use your hand to guide it around for a hip circle. Other leg. Extend the leg out in front. And just make a semicircle, bringing that leg around and behind you. Lifting the leg higher and higher each time. And then finally drive the knee up in front of you for a hip circle. Just using your hand to guide it around. And we'll finish with a quick hamstring stretch. So I'm gonna use this post. If you wanna use the wall or a chair or the arm of your couch to assist you, it just can make it a little bit more accessible, a little bit more comfortable getting into this stretch while keeping your back as flat as possible so that you isolate your hamstrings more effectively. And that's it. That's our little 5-minute warm up. So let's go ahead and get right into part one of the workout. This is 10 minutes of mobility training. So I'm starting my timer in 3, 2, 1. This is a 10-second rest interval just to get ready. Coming down onto your mat, on your belly. Arms out to the side, your elbows are bent at about a 90-degree angle. And now you're just going to tap the dumbbells, rotate your shoulders, and tap your elbows to the ground. So tap the dumbbell, tap the elbows. Now, just using one dumbbell for this next exercise. Allow your knees to fall towards one side. And now lift the weight, rotate the wrist, lift the shoulder, place the shoulder back down, rotate the wrist again, and return to your starting position. Okay, switching sides, so holding the dumbbell in the opposite hand, allow your knees to fall towards the opposite side. Lift the weight, rotate, lift the shoulder, lower the shoulder, rotate the wrist again, and lower the weight. Okay, now quickly coming up into your lunge position. So kneeling, step one foot forward, place the opposite hand in front of your foot. Rotate, press the weight up overhead, and now bend the elbow. Tap your elbow to the mat and push yourself back up. So with our first exercise, we're working on our shoulder mobility. Second exercise, we're working shoulder and spinal mobility. Switching sides. So step the opposite foot forward. And with this final exercise, we're working spinal mobility and hip mobility. It also requires a ton of core strength. All right, back to the top. Just gonna repeat that whole thing once more. Okay, drop one weight, flip over, bend the knees, drop the knees to one side. Switching sides. Okay, coming up into your lunge. and switching sides. And that's it. That's part one. That's our 10 minutes of mobility training. So now I'm setting my lighter set of weights to the side. And I'm grabbing my heavier set of weights. So if you only have light weights, or if you're using household items like water bottles or shampoo bottles, that's fine. You can stick with those. But if you do have heavier weights, you may want to use them for part two. So part two is going to be strength and cardio. We're going to be on 10-second rest intervals and 50-second work intervals times 10 rounds, just like we were for part one. We're going to be alternating a strength exercise and then jump rope or some other type of cardio exercise if you don't have a jump rope. So if you don't have dumbbells and you don't have anything you can lift for weight, you can be doing any strength exercise you want while I am lifting my dumbbells. If you don't need this long rest break, you can get right into part two. I just need another minute. I want my breathing to normalize a little bit. I want my heart rate to come down a little bit more, and I want to feel like I have enough strength in my legs to get my feet up and over my jump rope. 50-second work intervals for jump rope is incredibly difficult, I think. I have a feeling you're going to see me tripping a lot over my jump rope today. Just know that if that happens, it is not Victoria's fault. It's my fault. Victoria's perfect. All right, so if you need a longer rest break than what I'm taking, of course, just pause the video, towel off, get a sip of water, and just pace around for a couple minutes until your heart rate has normalized, until your breathing has normalized a little bit and you feel that you have enough strength and enough stamina so that you are capable of continuing on with the workout. All right, so we are starting, well, I am starting with reverse grip bent over rows. So as soon as you're ready, here we go, starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, this is 10 seconds. Just to get ready. So you're going to rotate your wrists so that they are facing forward. Shoulders are back and down. Abs are tight, hinging at the hips. And row the weights. seconds to make this transition. Weights down, grab your jump rope. Ay. Now bicep curls. Back to jump rope. Goal posts. Back to cardio. Together, reverse grip, bent over row, bicep curl, Arnold press. Jump rope, push. We are not quite finished yet. No workout of mine is ever complete until we have done our bonus burpee. So we have just one rep left to go. But first, whenever I do a workout that incorporates jump rope, in addition to my bonus burpee, I also like to do a bonus set of 100 with my jump rope, meaning 100 revolutions of the jump rope. So if you would like to join me, any set of jump rope you want to do is fine. We're just counting 100 revolutions of the jump rope. This bonus round of jump rope is completely optional, but the bonus burpee is mandatory. So if you don't want to join me for the bonus round of jump rope, just take another minute to rest and allow your breathing to normalize a little bit, cheer me on, and hope that my legs can make it through a set of 100 without tripping over my jump rope, and then we'll do our bonus burpee together. If you would like to join me, here we go, we're just counting 100 revolutions of the jump rope. Wish me luck. So you're counting like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, So that's our little bonus set of jump rope. I'm very relieved that I was able to complete a set of 100 without tripping, because I wasn't able to do that during the workout. My legs are jelly. So now we have just one rep left to go. Let's go ahead and do our bonus burpee together, and then the workout will be officially complete. So as soon as you're ready, here we go. Final rep of the day. All right, with that, the workout is now officially complete. So let's just do a quick little cool down. You just want to keep moving while you allow your heart rate to come down a little bit and while you allow your breathing to normalize. So if you find that you're shallow breathing and your chest is rising and falling like this, I want you to really visualize your diaphragm being pulled down and allow your entire torso to expand. Feel your rib cage expanding and think about sending the breath all the way down to your belly button. Fill up your entire torso with air and then use your diaphragm to control the air as you exhale. And you just want to keep pacing around back and forth, or you can shake the legs, shake the arms. Let's do a quick shoulder stretch. So just bringing one arm across your body and using your other arm to pull it in tight towards your chest. Make sure you're still moving. So I always just kind of shift my weight from foot to foot, but you can shake out the legs or you can continue pacing. Make sure you're continuing to focus on your breathing, sending that air all the way down to your belly button. And make sure your arm is completely relaxed. Make sure your shoulder is relaxed so that you can stretch it effectively. Shake it out. Let's get the other arm. So bring the opposite arm across your body. Use your other arm to pull it in close to your chest. Make sure your straight arm is completely relaxed and make sure your shoulder's not tense and hunched up here by your ear. Relax the shoulder so that you can feel that stretch. Continue moving. A couple more deep breaths here. Feel that entire torso filling up with air. And shake it out. We'll do a quick tricep stretch. So bending one elbow. Place your hand on your elbow and now just gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder, making sure that the fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. So what we're trying to avoid is having this hand hanging out up here somewhere by your shoulder. In order to really stretch your triceps effectively, you want those fingers pointing straight down at the ground, and then you're pulling gently pulling your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. One more deep breath here. And come out. Shake it out. Let's get the other side. So bending the opposite shoulder. Place your hand on the elbow and gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. Fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. Feeling that nice stretch in your triceps. As you're continuing to either pace or shake out the legs, shift your weight from foot to foot. Don't forget about your breathing. Take one more deep breath here. And shake it out. We'll finish with a quick quad stretch. So if you struggle with balance, you can hold onto the wall or a chair or the arm of your couch, your dining room table for support. You're going to bend one knee, bring the foot behind you, reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand on the same side. If you are holding onto something for support, if you're not holding onto anything for support, you can reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands. And now press your heel into your booty cheek, really press it in there. And as you're doing that, you're also tilting your pelvis forward, meaning that you're kind of tucking your booty underneath you. Think about trying to touch your spine with your belly button. Don't forget to continue pressing your heel into your booty cheek as you're doing that. As soon as you combine both of those two elements, you're going to instantly feel that stretch intensify as you isolate your quad muscles more effectively. You're also going to feel the stretch extend up to your hip flexors. So shake it out. Let's get the other side. So Bending the opposite knee, bringing the foot behind you. Reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand that's on the same side if you're holding on to something for support. If not, you can grab a hold of your foot with both hands. Pressing your heel into your booty cheek, and as you're doing that, tilting your pelvis forward. Tucking the booty underneath, sucking that spine, or that belly button back towards your spine. Don't forget about your breathing. And make sure as you're tilting your pelvis forward, you're also continuing to press that heel into your booty cheek. Really feel that stretch intensify in your quad muscles and also extend all the way up to your hip flexors. One more deep breath here. And come out. And one last time. Shake out the legs, shake out the wrists, shake out the arms, swing the arms a little bit. If you find that you are still breathing heavily, your heart rate is still elevated, just continue to pace around for a couple more minutes. You can do a little more light stretching. That's a wonderful idea. Just remember that this little bit of light stretching that we do during the cool down does not take the place of a proper stretching routine. It's still really important to make sure that you are taking the time to stretch every day, 15 or 20 minutes, even more if you can. That's ideal. If you can do it right now, immediately after the workout, this is going to be the most effective and the most efficient time to do your stretching because your muscles are already nice and warm from the workout. But if you don't have time to do it now, that's fine. As long as you get your stretching done at some point during the day, that's what matters. It's really important to make sure you're taking the time to stretch every day. It is going to help alleviate any muscle soreness that you might be experiencing after the workouts. It's also going to help reduce your risk of injury moving forward because you're training your muscles to be generally more pliable, you're increasing your range of motion, and it is going to improve your flexibility and your mobility. And those, I think those are two often overlooked and undervalued aspects of your overall fitness level. That's why we do Mobility Mondays, where we take one day to really focus on mobility. So just remember that if you do put off your stretching until later on in the day, that your muscles will have gotten cold again. So you are going to need to take a few minutes to warm them back up before you start stretching. You never want to jump into your stretching routine with cold muscles. Your muscles need to be warm in order for them to be pliable so that you can stretch them safely and effectively. So please make sure you're taking the time to stretch every day, but please make sure that you are doing so safely. And now it is Mobility Monday, so that means that I found another mobility challenge on Instagram. I'm going to go grab my phone so that we can watch the reel and we know what it is that we are about to attempt. So I am watching the reel right now. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at so that we can watch it a few times together and we understand the movement. Can you do the back pocket squat challenge? So they are using a dumbbell. I have my dumbbells out, so I guess I'll use a dumbbell as well, but I imagine that you can use pretty much anything. So if you don't have a dumbbell, again, a water bottle, shampoo bottle, a can of soup, the remote control to your TV, I think pretty much anything will work, a yoga block, something like that. But what they are doing, they are starting with the dumbbell behind them, and then it looks like, okay, see, not everyone is, see how she has her, let's watch it again. So do you notice how she has one arm straight and the other arm, look how the other hand is holding on. It's kind of wrapped around the front of the opposite arm. Now he is no, he's trying with the opposite arm. Okay. So not all of them seem to be maintaining that the entire time. See, her hand is not holding on to her straight arm. So I'm gonna say, let's just watch it one last time. So I'm gonna say that keeping your hand of your bent arm, see where her hand is, see how the whole time she has it kind of wrapped around and she's maintaining a firm grasp on her straight arm. I'm gonna say that's part of the challenge. So we're gonna find that position and then you're just squatting down, grabbing a hold of the dumbbell and standing back up. See, they're giving her a check mark, but she wasn't holding on her arm, so I'm gonna say that's part of it, but if you're doing it, then it's your challenge. So you decide if that's part of your challenge, but I'm going to say that maintaining this position with the arm that's bent, or the hand of the arm that's bent, I'm going to say that's part of the challenge. So for me, I'm going to say that I have to maintain that position the entire time. But that didn't appear to be officially part of their challenge because the one woman that wasn't doing that did get a check mark. So, you know, you make the decision that's best for you, but let's give it a shot and see what happens. All right, so I have my dumbbell here. I'm just going to place this on the ground behind me, and I'm going to stand in front of my dumbbell so that it's behind one foot. Now, with the opposite hand, I'm going to reach behind my back, and I'm going to wrap this hand around my elbow like this. And now the goal is that this hand stays glued right here for the duration of the challenge. So now what I'm going to do is squat down and see if I can grab a hold of my dumbbell and pick it up as I stand. So remember, this is a squat, so shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted high. Tighten up your abs, push your booty back. Think about trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty. At the same time, you're keeping that chest lifted high, so think about trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest as you sink down into your squat, making sure your back stays flat, keeping the weight in your heels, all right? We wanna be safe while we do this. So push the booty back, flat back, weight in the heels as you come down into your squat. Where is it? There it is. And now grab a hold of the dumbbell, press your heels into the ground and straighten your legs to stand, and that's it. We did it. Now I think we should try it on the other side just to make sure we can do it on both sides. So I'm going to set the dumbbell back down behind the opposite foot, and now I'm going to take the opposite hand, reach behind my back, and grab a hold of my elbow like this. And then again, I'm going to squat down, pick up the dumbbell, press my heels into the ground, straighten the legs to stand, and that's it. We did it. So if you were not successful, don't worry. Worked well rules, we get 3 chances. If you were successful, but it was a little sloppy or it wasn't really flowing as much as you would like, just go ahead and try it again with me anyway, see if you can clean it up a little bit. And even if it was picture perfect, let's go ahead and try this again in solidarity with those people who were not successful the first time. So I've talked us through it once. Let's see if we can pick up the pace just a little bit for this second attempt. Sometimes that helps. It helps with the flow of everything. So starting with the dumbbell behind one foot, with the opposite hand, I'm going to reach behind and grab a hold of my elbow, and now I'm going to come down into a squat, grab a hold of my dumbbell, pick it up, and now press the heels into the ground, straighten the legs to stand, and let's go ahead and try it on the other side. So sliding the dumbbells back towards the opposite foot, bringing the opposite hand around, grab a hold of the elbow, and now squat. Find the dumbbell first of all, pick it up, press the heels into the ground to stand, and there you go. That's all there is to it. Should we put it back down? Should that be part of the challenge? Why not? But that's it, we did it. If you still have not successfully completed the challenge, you get one final attempt. So shake it out, one more deep breath. As soon as you're ready, here we go. Third and final attempt. So I'm going to place my dumbbell on the ground behind one foot. I'm going to reach back with the opposite arm and grab a hold of my elbow. Squat down, grab a hold of the dumbbell, pick it up, and stand. Now we're going to squat and put the dumbbell back down. Let go. I'm going to slide the dumbbell back so that it's behind the opposite foot. And now I'm going to take the other arm, reach back, grab a hold of my elbow, squat, grab a hold of the dumbbell, pick it up, and stand. And now squat, place the dumbbell back down, and let go, and that's it. We did it. So that one was actually really easy for me. It just plays to my strengths. Generally speaking, I have a pretty easy time with hip mobility challenges, and especially when they involve squatting. So that kind of just was right up my alley. I found it quite easy, but I know it's not easy for everyone because even the people, when we were watching the reel, even some of the people who were successful seemed to be struggling with it, and not everyone was able to do it. So it just happens to play to my strengths. But if you did not get it, I hope you will keep practicing, and maybe by next week you will have added a new skill to your repertoire and you will have improved your hip mobility. But I was able to successfully complete this challenge. So that is another successful Monday mobility challenge in the books for me. Let me know how you did with it. If you did this workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. Thank you to everyone who has been working out with me lately. And even if you're not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It truly does mean the world to me. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. If you are not subscribed already, please subscribe. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. One final reminder that if anything was unclear about today's workout, about the format and how everything fits together, if you have questions about any of the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do these exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions or beginner modifications beyond what I have already provided, I'm right here to help, so please just ask. That is going to do it for today, but before I say goodbye, I just have to say one final thank you to those of you who have been watching the videos all the way until the end and commenting with the secret code phrase of the day. So before I say goodbye, I will give you today's secret code phrase of the day. It is, what is your spaghetti policy here? So if you are still watching this video, hello, thank you for watching all the way until the end. Please let me know that someone is still watching by going down to the comment section and leaving me a comment that says, what is your spaghetti policy here? That is going to do it for today. I will see you all next time. Bye.